Shalom, shalom. First, I'd like to give all praises unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Baharakah Kwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and honors to you, brothers out there in the highways and the byways, teaching this word in all sincerity and in truth. And these men are perpetrating a fraud. In 1948, they decided to establish the Israeli state and pretend in the world like this is, the actual real Israelites, the real Israel with the Most High behind them and all that. When we know, you go into the documentation that the Zionists, Ben Gurion and all them dons, all right, they were atheists. They didn't even believe in the Most High. All right, the Israeli state is a secular state, not a spiritual state. All right, their defense is not from the Most High, but from America. They rely on carnal things. They rely on their weapons. They don't rely on the spirit and the power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. All right. Now, this is their army.
טוב, שכחתי לציין שגם כרטיס תודה. אז
Now you can blatantly see that this guy blows rods. Okay. Now it got because first and foremost, right? They have women in the Israeli army. So every Israeli citizen, I believe the only exception, which is quite funny, the only exceptions is among the ultra Orthodox Jews, which make up a very small minority. I think they're exempt from the military draft, so to speak. All right, but every Israeli has to pretty much do some time in the military, whether you're a man or a woman. All right, which again, it goes against our culture. Right, the women were never numbered in the army. All right, this is Numbers 1 and 2. It says, take ye the sum of all the congregation of the children of Israel after their families, by the house of their fathers, with the number of their names, every male by their polls, from 20 years old and upward, all that are able to go forth to war. Thou and Aaron shall number them by their armies. So the armies of Israel was always men. It was the women, and those under 20. Because even though you're a man, when you're 18, 17, you're a man, you wasn't eligible or counted as a warrior until you were 20, which makes sense. Because if you're like 14, 15, even though you're a man, you're a young, underdeveloped man. All right. So you had to be 20. That was like a administrative age for not only the military, but also certain sacrifices and so forth. So it was men first and foremost, but the Israeli army, they recruit women. Because why? They're trying to get as many people in the army as possible. It's a numbers thing. When you go into the scriptures, really, the Most High would make it where we would like, for instance, if a man just built a vineyard and he never did eat of it, he wouldn't have to go. If a man just married a wife but ain't laid with her within the year or whatever, he would have to go. Didn't have to go. Anyone that was scared, they didn't have to go, because we wouldn't win battles based upon our numbers. We'd win battles because Yahweh Shem Yahushai was with us. He would go before us. These men don't have that spirit because the Most High ain't dealing with them, and they're not a spiritual people. They're carnal, because they're Edomites. They rely on the missiles and the technology, and that's what they're putting their trust in. They trust in buckler and shield, just like what's his name? Goliath. Whereas David trusted in Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Not saying he wasn't a great warrior, but his trust wasn't in the flesh or in the carnal things. His trust was in the spiritual things. All right. It is funny because one of their defense system is called David's sling. These people are jokers. They don't believe in the Most High. They trust in the Iron Dome. They don't trust in Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right. Their power is in the nuclear weapons they possess, not in the Most High. See, we, the true Israelites, We don't have none of those things. We don't trust in the carnal things. We don't have them. We only can trust and should trust in Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. And that's how it's supposed to be. Because the Lord is going to give us the victory. All right. Not ourselves, not the flesh. But anyway, they even got Batiman in the army. So they got Batiman in the army. They got people, let's get it, people from various religions. All right. So it says here the national, because it's a secular country. National religious recruits challenge values of IDF once dominated by secular elite. 2/5 of infantry graduate officer cadets now come from the section of Israeli society aligned with far right parties and settler movements, right? It says about 40% of those graduated from the Army's infantry office schools now come from a national religious community that accounts for 12 to 14% of blah, 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 blah. The point is, look, let me get straight to the point. The IDF does not distinguish or differentiate between its recruits based on their religious identity. So basically, it doesn't matter what your religion is, the Israeli army will accept you and you can be a soldier. Now, that's not supposed to be the case. The army of Israel are supposed to be followers of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. You're not supposed to have idolaters in the army. You go into the time of the Maccabees, you go anytime. If you go a bunch of idolaters in the army, you're going to lose because the Lord ain't with you. The Lord ain't going to be with a bunch of Batiman either. How are you going to have a bunch of Batiman in your army? How's the Lord going to be with you? This is insanity. But then you still got these goofy Christians talking about how this is the Most High's chosen people and you're supposed to be with these people. How can you be with a bunch of Batiman and idolaters? Since when is the Lord with Batiman and idolaters? Since when has he given Batiman idolaters who are Israelites the victory? The Lord ain't dealing with that. How can the Lord be dealing with that? This is madness. Straight up rod blowers in the army. Straight up atheists, man. Straight up atheists. Right? Look, the IDF, the military recognizes same-sex couples, including widows and widowers of the same sex. Soldiers are also allowed to participate in gay pride parades. The Israeli Defense Forces currently does not consider gender dysphoria to be a disqualifying condition for service. So they just accept anyone. You could do anything, any kind of madness. They just want you to come and hold a weapon. This is madness. And these are the man that Volcom Malone is running with and supporting. And these are the man. Come on, man. Like, this is crazy. This is insane when you think about it. But it's all right because the Lord has a pure army, and that army is the 144,000. Right? The Lord's waking up his people. All right? Let's get that. Ezekiel 37. That army is the Israelites, and it's an army that's not based upon how many missiles we got and all these carnal things that Esau trusts in. We're trusting in Yahweh Hashem Yahshua. We're trusting in Yahweh Shai. All right. The Lord said, Scripture says he has chosen us to be a soldier. We're soldiers in his army, and we believe in him. You know, and we don't want no Batiman and idolaters come Cambodia, come mash up the thing. All right. If you're an idolater, you gotta stay separate. We can't have you in the army. If you're going to be in the army of Israel, you got to believe in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, man. What is going on here? This is Ezekiel 37:10. So I prophesied, and he commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they lived and stood upon their feet, an exceeding great army. You got to have that breath. Now, if you're a Batiman and an idolater, you ain't got the breath. If you're a Batiman and an idolater, you ain't got the breath. The Lord ain't dealing with that, man. So it's very interesting to me that we're coming down to the last days. And the army that's least equipped in the flesh is us. Because we are an army. All right. That's why the scripture says, I've chosen you to be a soldier. Right? We are members. If you're an Israelite, right, and you're of this ministry, you're part of an army. Right now, we're not the type of army. Right now, we're doing the spiritual work, but we are an army. Right? This is 2 Timothy 2:3. Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahweh Shai Mashiach. And Yahweh Shai is the king of Israel. It's the king of Israel. The king leadeth the armies, right? We're his people. So when you really look at it in the spirit, the beautiful thing that the Lord's setting up in these last days is you got all these nations, they got all these armies, they got all these the crazy ass military power. You can go on the Global Fire Index, you see all this, they got this, that, and the other. What do we have? We don't even have one tank. In terms of military strength, we are the least. We are the least. But we are gonna win. But not through our own selves and not through our military might according to the ways of man, but through the might according to Yahweh Shai. And that's beautiful when you think about it. That the Lord is separating. Here it is, you have the Israelis who boast in what? Their military might. They don't boast in the spiritual things because they're not spiritual. They boast in the physical things, the nukes, the Iron Dome. That's what makes them feel safe, the Iron Dome. They don't trust in Yahweh Hashem Yeshai. But then you have us who have none of those things. And we trust in what? We trust in Yahweh Hashem Yeshai, and we believe in the spiritual things. That's a beautiful thing, man. But yeah, I was just the more you look at this thing, you just think this thing is it's diabolical. They're running a fraud out here, and it's diabolical. Straight up rod blowers in your army, man. It's crazy.